We have with us three representatives of the We Have a Say: founder Obiefule Iroabueke, Executive Director Innocent Anenih, and Communications Director Christopher Iroaganachi. Gentlemen, I hope I did justice to your names. If I didn't, feel free to correct me. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you for having us.
It is indeed our pleasure. So, origins of We Have a Say. Why was it established? Whose brainchild was it?
I actually started We Have a Say. I've always had an inclination for socioeconomic development. And in about 2013, I got the idea to start We Have a Say. It actually started off as a small group with small meetings. But in about 2015, we came together and decided we should take this thing to the next level to get more people involved and get more outreach, which was when I put up a team together. And in 2017, we started the registration process of getting officially registered, which we finally concluded in 2019. I actually met Ambassador Rosalind Hazel at a program in the United States in about towards the end of 2018, where we had a lot of discussions around the Sustainable Development Goals. And this actually gave the organization a different inspiration. And we started to pursue more of the Sustainable Development Goals through youth participation in policy and governance. And I would like to say she's actually our grand patron now. And I'm here with my team of Nnamdi, Iroaganachi, Christopher actually, Iroaganachi, and Innocent Anenih. Christopher is the communications director and Innocent is the executive director. So we are the three actual board of trustees of We Have a Say. So what We Have a Say is actually looking at is to get youths involved in policy and governance. We actually saw that there was actually a vacuum in the Nigerian political scene where we had little representation of women and youths in governance. So we decided to come together to actually forge a path for the youths whereby they can get more representation in policy and governance. Because we feel if youth get involved, we can actually develop policies that help create an enabling environment for the sustainable goals to be achieved, thereby resulting in socioeconomic growth.
All right, so just so that I'm clear on everything that you've said so far, which sustainable development goals do you specifically focus on?
To actually be honest, we actually focus on the Sustainable Goal 16, which has to do with peace and justice and inclusion for everybody in every institution. We actually focus on that goal because I think with that sustainable goal, we can actually bring everything inside because we think a strong institution is the best platform to actually achieve all the other 16 Sustainable Development Goals. If we get institutions that are credible, accountable, and justice for all and inclusion of everybody, I think it's going to be a fair playing ground for everybody to work towards achieving the remaining Sustainable Development Goals.
That makes perfect sense to me, Obi.
Sure.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you now, how have your professional backgrounds impacted your work with the organization? Because I did a little bit of homework on you, and I understand that you come from somewhat similar but also different backgrounds indeed. So what can you tell me about how they play roles in informing your work with the organization? Let's start with Christopher.
Okay, Christopher. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a lawyer, and you know I've grown up with a sort of a passion for for understanding the people at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of law, society, the economy. In my early career, I started off with a lot of prison reform work. So I would go to the prisons to try to provide some relief to people that had been incarcerated without proper adjudicatory, without going through the proper adjudicatory process. So and I realized that there was a sizable number of young people and women in those places, and they had been quite literally robbed of their voices, you see, and that made an impact on me. And thankfully, I had at the time the friendship of both of my compadres, if you like, and that sort of, that sort of fueled the conversation that we were having at the time. And so when Obi came up with the idea, Innocent was excited about it, and I was as well. But my professional life as a lawyer, gave me a fillip, if you like, and sort of prompted me to embrace this line of work. Yes.
Innocent?
Yeah, hi guys. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. For me personally, I have always had a background in banking and finance, but by the time we actually started this, I was making a transition into the microfinance sector. So I was actually a general manager for a microfinance bank, which was situated in a rural area, so my village, basically. And there, what I came to realize was that most of the driving force behind the community, most communities anyway, especially where I was, were the youth and the women folk, right? But one thing that, a struggle that they always had was access to affordable finance, because most of them were either petty traders or artisans, and it was very difficult for them to get finance to better their lives, to get above the poverty line. So for me, being there for over 3 years and working closely with them, trying to come up with products and services that is more tailored to helping women and helping the youth, I found out that things like giving out little loans, which the commercial banks or the bigger institutions were not doing, actually went a long way in getting them employed, getting them a legitimate source of living, and gradually getting them over the poverty line, right? So that was something that I had firsthand. So when Obi approached us with this, it kind of was in line, and we knew that, at the end of the day, regardless of whatever issues any country is having, right? For example, it always draws a line to governance, right? So you need to create an enabling environment for your people to thrive. If we use Nigeria as an example, we have a very large youth population, and the best way to cater for them is to, get them involved, right? Let them understand their powers, let them know that their contribution to governance in whatever, at any stage, is very, very important to realizing their own goals and, giving them a brighter future. So that's part of the reason why, yeah.
I love your names, by the way, especially the one Innocent. If I had that name, I tell you, I'd go through life a little more easily. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's always a conversation starter anyway.
I imagine it is. So as we continue our conversation, I'd like to know what challenges the organization faces in meeting its objectives. Any one of you can answer that one.
Okay, I think I'll start off here. We actually have some challenges with actually getting to coordinate youths, but how we've actually been able to solve that is we've actually provided a very relaxed atmosphere for everybody to be included. Like, we get everybody to make sure they have a role to play, so that way we keep them focused and keep them with we have them their eyes on the ball. Also, we face some challenges with regards to financing. For now, the organization is actually a self-funded organization. Whenever we need to raise any financing to get anything done, we actually, as a team, contribute towards getting our tasks done. But in future, we look to reach out to international organizations and corporate donors who are actually inspired by the work we do.
Okay. So do you think you're on track for the 2030 goals of UNESCO?
I think we're working towards that. We're on track, yes.
Okay, lovely,
And
lovely.
with the Nigerian elections coming soon next year, we think if we get the right government in, we think that will actually boost our organization.
Lovely, that's
Yeah.
good to hear.
It's interesting that you say that because when I perused your site, I saw under the campaigns a lot of information on voting. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the things that you were driving, youth participating in elections. What can you tell us about that drive?
Yes, we actually hold a lot of sensitization for youth to get registered to vote, because there has actually been a laid-back attitude, because the youth in Nigeria feel that their votes don't count anymore because of past elections being rigged and obviously votes not being counted properly. But we're trying to let them know that there's a new narrative in Nigeria, and things are getting better. There's now an electronic voting system. So we're trying to let them know that your votes actually count, and you have a choice to choose the right candidate who fits the purpose for which you want. So we're trying to let them know that get registered to vote, perform your civic duties, say no to vote buying, say no to election violence, and just exercise your civic duty and be responsible, be very responsible towards governance. So that's the only way you can actually achieve putting in the right person that would actually push your agenda and put the right institutions in place for the country to progress.
And we speak on votes.
I might add.
Go ahead. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go on. I might add that that Nigeria has much of Africa, and Nigeria specifically has a very young youth, very young demographic. Okay,
Yes.
so we're looking at a 99% growth rate by 2050. We're looking at doubling the youth demographic. So young people do need to have a say in what goes on in their countries, especially in Nigeria, because I might say that if we're able to shape the democratic process here, then we can inspire our friends across the world, the young people across the world who also have a stake in the democratic output. It's important to note that there is a certain degree of apathy. Okay, and this is, don't forget, we've not always been a democratic country. We've not always had democracy as we know it now. So there's a high degree of apathy, and of course, we're also struggling in nation in some respects, economically. So that level of turbulence, apathy and economic turbulence can sometimes has put off the youth. We're trying to revitalize them, and it's a difficult task to get them to believe in a future similar to a past that their parents enjoyed with state subsidies and all kinds of things like that.
Okay. As we speak in that same breath of election, I'll read a bit of something, and I quote, "The time has come for a refresh in new and inspired leadership which bears the hallmark of youth and which has youthful energy embedded within it," end quote. How important it is, that's something that was told to both our Prime Minister and our Deputy Prime Minister as you congratulated them after their win. How important is it that the reins of leadership be handed over to the youth sooner than later? Anyone can take that question.
Okay. I think I'll give this a shot. So for us, right? And like Christopher alluded to earlier, the youth are the engine behind any country, right? So be it in in every facet of a country, right? The youth population is what generally drives it. So for us, we believe that with the youth getting involved now, those issues that most countries face, so if it's financial, if it's in education, if it's in agriculture, if it's in health, right? We really believe that
we lost Innocent there for a
Unfortunately, it seems as though
minute.
we have lost the audio.
Or Innocent. So Obi, you want to continue?
I'll continue from there, yes. So with regards to, as I said earlier, having met an Ambassador Rosalind, every discussion we have actually get inspired, and we were actually inclined to support and approve and endorse the current Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister because we saw the manifesto of their party, and we believe they had a lot of things and a lot of plans towards doing things for the youths, and which is what we're driving at in Nigeria here as well. We're not saying the youth have to occupy every position in governance. We're actually saying we need more representation. We're actually saying whoever is there should actually have a plan, a map, a manifesto, or an action plan, something that has youth involved. We are the ones that have the future. We have a collective voice. We're going to forge our paths, but we need someone that will actually push us and someone that actually supports us. What we need is an enabling environment. And if we have any leader, anyone that has a plan to get youths involved, then we will support and we will endorse.
Lovely, lovely.
Well, very solid points, gentlemen, and I understand why it is indeed important to involve youth, because as you rightly said, they are the future of tomorrow. At this moment, I think it's time to have a little bit of a cultural discussion. Because obviously you've met our ambassador.
Yes.
She spent some time with you as well. And the cultural exchange, that dynamic, what we can talk about. Let's do it this way. St. Kitts, I don't know if you know, but St. Kitts is known as the heart of the Caribbean, and you are considered to be the heart of Africa. What gives you this outstanding distinction? And as you answer, I'm going to see if there are any parallels to us as well.
I think with regards to culture, I think we share a lot of culture, a lot of similar culture with them, St. Kitts and Nevis. We're seeing a lot of Nigerians moving over there, relocating, trying to get citizenship. And I think it's quite a big drive in Nigeria now, people moving to the St. Kitts. With regards to culture, I think we actually have similar dishes, if not prepared the same way, but we have similar tastes. And music-wise, Nigerian music actually stems from the Afrobeat. There's a lot of the genre called Afrobeat. That's what is making international grounds everywhere now. So there's the core of the Afrobeats, which I think it's quite a little bit similar to the music in St. Kitts and Nevis, like the calypso. There's a core culture. There's a taste of something natural in our music, which makes it more interesting. I even noticed that I think Two-Face Idibia, one of our popular artists, actually shot a video in St. Kitts and Nevis some time back with a Trinidadian artist. Oh. And I even saw that. And I think this in your festival this year, there was a guy called Rotimi. He's a Nigerian American Nigerian. I don't know which one comes first, but he actually performed. Yes, he actually performed at your festival in this year. I think that was in June or sometime.
Yes, it was in June indeed.
Exactly.
There are opportunities for cultural exchange. Interesting point on Rotimi. Thank you. I did not know that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
So earlier this year, Good Morning SKN reported on the dying art of the Kofar Mata dye pit in Kano. What is being done to ensure that this tradition goes on and not face an ultimate dying? The ultimate dying or the ultimate death? Literally.
Interesting play. Is that for us to respond to?
Yes, please.
All right. So yes, you know that those dye sites have been active for quite a long time. Some of them are as old as 100 years old. Kano is itself a historic and ancient city. So it's obviously a thing of pride. You might have heard of the recent repatriation of Nigerian art from European museums. So it's obviously, that signals to everyone back home here that it is time to take some special recognition of those kinds of sites. There are a couple of people who are starting to mobilize, not only in Kano but in the southwest of Abeokuta, who do quite some related work in tie and dye. And I don't think that there's any real sort of threat in the long term of those sites disappearing, because there are young people now that I know who are going to who are going to that line of trade. And so I am reassured that we can look back in the next 50, maybe 100 years with some pride at how well those dye sites are doing. I don't know if we're going to be able to apply any sort of modern technology you know, to that. I don't think that it might work, but you know, the beauty, the attraction is that, you know, those pits themselves, you know, have been there for ages, and the hand sort of, you know, they're all done by hand, and that's, I suppose, the beauty of it, really. So I would say when you come over to Nigeria, we'd be happy to, you know, to take you over there to have a look. There's no threat of it disappearing, and as I said, in the southwest, in southwest Nigeria, young people are going into that, you know, similar line of business.
Good stuff.
I'm going to pivot to my co-host here because I know that she's a foodie. And if you understand that term, it means that she just loves to eat. So this particular question, Cortezia, that's yours.
That's mine? Okay. So one of our local dishes in St. Kitts is something we call tonkon. So I'm going to talk in the local dialect. Tonkon, or we call it fungi, right? It is corn that we boil basically with butter and okra and a little spices, right? And we eat that with fish, mackerel, or saltfish. I've heard that you have okra soup. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we have a dish called okra. It's an okra soup. It's what we do with ours is we blend the okra, or dice it, boil it, and put spices in. And we don't have ours with corn. We don't have ours with corn. We have one with like a swallow. There's something called gari. It's an end product of cassava. We use that with some like starch or something else. We actually use that with a swallow, like more similar to like a mashed potato kind of.
Okay.
Yes,
so mashed cassava basically.
Yes, mashed cassava basically. Yes, with the soup. So we swallow that. We don't chew.
So it's literal. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Oh, nice. So do you have any cornmeal dishes in Nigeria?
And we have actually now this is actually the season for corn, the raining season. So now by the roadsides and everywhere, see a lot of roasted corn. We have people roasting corn, and you buy that with coconut or something, or we have it boiled with pear as well. Yes. There's a local pear we have here. I don't know the botanical name, but there's a local pear, a small one.
Okay.
Just put in hot water and it gets really soft quickly. Then you have it with corn, like roasted corn or boiled corn. That's mainly how we'll have our corn. Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so gentlemen, my follow-up question. I'm not leaving the food alone yet because you seem so enthused by this discussion, this line of questioning here. Does each of you cook? Can you cook those things that you've described?
I can try.
Like Obi's answer.
This is from my own statistical analysis because I know I can't cook anything Cortez
But Innocent looks like he can cook. Innocent, you were about to tell us that you can cook?
No. I mean, I'm a foodie. I'm a foodie, but I'm still trying my hands at that.
Okay, that's Chris. What about you, Innocent?
Oh yeah. I can cook, but I don't know how edible it is. But,
that is something I would say. I feel like we're brothers already.
Obi, you were about to say something?
Yes, I've actually tried my hands on a couple of sauces, and they came out quite nice. So I think I haven't tried okra before. I think given the recipe, I might be able to make it. I don't think it's that difficult to make, though.
Nice. So that when me and Jamie show up in Nigeria, you will be in charge of the okra, okay?
Gladly.
All right, so another similarity that we have in common is that we boast one UNESCO World Heritage Site. That is the Brimstone Hill National Park. And we understand Nigeria also boasts World Heritage Sites. Can you give us an overview of those?
Yes, we have, a couple of interesting places. I'm not quite sure if they're, UNESCO heritage sites or not, but we have the Azumini Blue Lake. We have the caves. So there are some really spectacular caves in Enugu. We have the Olumo Rock, which I think is the UNESCO site itself. The Olumo Rock is an ancient collection of rocks that stand somewhat precariously, one on each other. I've been there. So these are interesting places. And then we have the Yankari Game Reserve. Unfortunately, we do have some unrest in that part of the country at the moment, but it used to be a really prime area to go to relax. And then we do have the Obudu Cattle Ranch, there's, and then we have sites in Taraba. I think Innocent and Obi might have a few, but these are interesting places. So Olumorok, Obudu Cattle Ranch, the Azumini Blue Nile, Blue Lake. We have the caves in Enugu State. Yes.
Well, these are places definitely on my list of places to visit. Gentlemen, I so apologize, but it seems as though we are running out of we're running out of time a little bit. But you know what? I feel like we're gonna have this conversation again when we can coordinate it, because there's so much more to get. So I want to thank you. I definitely look forward to it too. I just inherited 3 brothers, by the way, so I'm really looking forward to it.